Congress just passed something called the Genius Act. Sounds smart, right? That's what they want you to think. While everyone argued about the Epstein files, lawmakers quietly pushed through crypto legislation that could change money forever. Now, Donald Trump supports it. His Treasury Secretary champions it. But Marjorie Taylor Greene voted no. And she's screaming warnings that nobody wants to hear. Steve Bannon says Trump doesn't really know what's in the bill. It promises crypto freedom, but critics say it opens the back door to something far more sinister. Total government control of every dollar you spend. Now, they blocked all amendments, and they rushed the vote. Now it sits on Trump's desk waiting for his signature. So what you're about to learn could save your financial freedom. So watch closely. Now, if you are suffering from daily aches and pains while watching your financial freedom slip away, listen closely. Just as the Genius Act promises relief while hiding potential control, Big Pharma promises relief while hooking you on dangerous pills. Top medical experts unveiled natural Conolidine, the only solution that optimizes your natural painkillers without side effects. Over 1 million Americans discovered this drug-free alternative. While government seeks to control your money, take control of your pain. Legal, worldwide, certified drug-free, no addiction risk. Try Conolidine for less than $1 a day. You can click trycono.com/NNN. It's linked down below for a 90-day risk-free trial. It expires at midnight, so make sure you click it now. And you got nothing to lose but your pain. Okay, so we got to talk about this bill. Let's just go to the moment is passed. This is the moment. There's the gavel. All right. Republicans 196 yays, 9 nays. Democrats 102 yays and 101 nays. So 298, 119. That was the bill. Now should we go to Marjorie Taylor Greene? She voted no. Let's find out why.
Wrote an the Genius Act. President Trump wrote an executive order on January 23rd, and specifically on exactly what the Genius Act is about, except they did not include what was in his executive order, which is a ban on a central bank digital currency, which is extremely important. The president feels it's important, and that's why it was in his executive order. And the Senate left that out. And then they sent this over to the House, and Speaker Johnson didn't allow us to do amendments to amend the bill to ban CBDC. And that's a House issue. It's not, I fully support the president. I will vote for the Genius Act when they ban central bank digital currency and the Genius Act. We need to get it right. It's run through and us forced to vote on something when they take away our right for amendments. Yeah. The Genius Act.
Okay, so she voted no because that amendment was not included. And here is the White House press briefing room just a few hours ago, right before the bill passed. Here's Caroline Leavitt confirming Trump is, in fact, against a central bank digital currency and already signed an executive order banning it.
Wondering if you could comment. I was curious to hear if it was in favor of removing any and all language around central bank digital currencies from the Genius Act, maybe as a means to get it across the line and get it on his desk. And then my second question was about something the president spoke about in this room. He talked about a $600 de minimis tax exemption for Bitcoin and other crypto spending. So I was just wondering if you could comment on those.
Sure. Well, the president did signal his support for a de minimis exemption for crypto, and the administration continues to be in support of that. We are receptive to it to make crypto payments easier and more efficient for those who seek to use crypto as simple as buying a cup of coffee. Of course, right now that cannot happen, but with the de minimis exemption, perhaps it could in the future, and we will continue to explore legislative solutions to accomplish that. As for the central bank digital currency and the Genius Act, which you noted has passed through Congress and will be sent to the president's desk. I believe the House is voting on it. If they haven't, they should be passing it. We know we have the votes, and we expect it to get to the president's desk, and we are planning a signing tomorrow afternoon. All of you will get more details on that. This piece of legislation is going to make America the crypto capital of the world, and that's what the president promised. As for a central bank digital currency, the president opposes that. He made that promise to the American people on the campaign, and while it's not in this specific piece of legislation, he did sign a January executive order banning a central bank digital currency. The administration supports Congress's efforts to codify that order into law, and I believe there will be future pieces of legislation in regards to crypto that will be moving through Capitol Hill. The president looks forward to signing them, and he looks forward to the signing ceremony this afternoon. So thank you for being with us today.
So the signing ceremony going to happen, and of course people are concerned that this is going to open the door for CBDCs. We're going to find out. I think Alex has a take two. We're going to get to that. This was 9 hours ago. But as you saw, the press secretary just states that while it's not in the bill, she hopes there will be another bill introduced that will codify President Trump's executive order. So all hope is not lost. But let's see what Alex is saying on Real America's Voice.
That would basically be a fact that there is a pathway to this with a digital central bank digital currency dollar in this Genius Act, and the OTG and you and a few others have been exposing it. It is a nightmare. But 11th hour, we shot down, thanks to you and others exposing it, when they had mainly pro votes for it. A large majority were supporting the AI liability protection for 10 years from the states and individuals, where AI would basically be above the law and could do whatever it wanted. That was just a blank check. We were able to then shoot that down in the big, beautiful bill, 99 to 1 vote. And so I think as we expose this section of the Genius Act, I believe that we can probably get that pulled out as well, because I would imagine, Trump sticks to his guns and understands this. And I don't think the public even knows about this at this point. You might go with him again and update him on what's happening. But I think if we cause a big enough stink about this, we can shoot this down. But at the end of the day, it's a threat to the dollar.
A threat to the dollar. Let's see what we have here. Here's Representative Mike Flood. The Genius Act offers clear guidelines for regulators while also putting consumers and investors first. This is the beginning for the golden age of stablecoins and digital assets in America. Let's listen from the floor debate today.
Coins have the... Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Chairman Hill. I've been working on this since I was in the Nebraska legislature. Back in 2021, I passed the Nebraska Financial Innovation Act, making our state the second state to allow state-chartered banks to custody digital assets, mostly stablecoins. These stablecoins have the ability to greatly increase not only the speed of payments and settlements, but to also make the economic system even more efficient. Stablecoins will also support the advancement of the U.S. dollar around the globe. We may often take it for granted, but most of the transactions around the globe rely on a currency backed by the U.S. dollar. That could change if we don't adopt laws like this. Who steps in? Adversaries like China. We want to have a presence on the continent of Africa. That is the next frontier. This assures us of that. In the early days, caution was certainly prudent. Stablecoins are a novel technology with significant questions regarding how to protect consumers, what happens in the event of a bankruptcy, how to ensure that the issuers live up to the technology's namesake by providing a truly stable asset, the dollar. That's why we've been working in our committee the last several years. Similarly, the Senate has been running through their process. Let me be clear, this bill is perfect. With my experience in Nebraska, I am a strident supporter of a strong, robust state pathway for issuers. This bill has a state pathway, but it's capped at $10 billion asset threshold. I personally much prefer Congressman Brian Stiles' Stable Act to this Senate product. However, despite my personal preferences, this bill absolutely provides a comprehensive and safe federal framework for stablecoin regulation. In order to usher in a new era of blockchain innovation, we need to pass the Genius Act so our regulators can get to work implementing a comprehensive stablecoin framework. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Oh, wow. Listen, I am totally pro-crypto, but I am absolutely against any type of CBDC. So there's no question, as Alex said, we have to put pressure on the administration. We have to put pressure on Congress and our senators so that there can be a bill that will codify Trump's executive order. He is against a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. Okay, again, I support like XRP, Bitcoin, these types of things. A lot of people do believe, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says here, Congress is secretly pushing for a cashless society. A lot of people believe that the Bitcoin is part of that. It would end financial freedom, citing biblical prophecy, Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17, which is a reference to the mark of the beast. She says that Mike Johnson made a deal to ban CBDCs in the NDAA last night, despite knowing this will be stripped out in the Senate.
To digital currency.
Let's start with the Genius Act. I'm very confused about the Genius Act. I thought there was a deal made by the president to make sure included was going to be the central bank. There'd be no possibility of a backdoor to get that. So where are we?
Steve, let me explain something. In 1971, we went off of the gold standard. The Federal Reserve did that. And we went to cash, a cash society. And the value of the dollar has drastically gone down to the buying power is less than 10 cents now from where it was in the 1950s before we went off the gold reserve. What's happening today on July 17th in 2025? No one is paying attention. No one's talking about it. Everyone is in blind rage about the Epstein files, and I don't blame them. However, right now, what is being voted on today in Congress is the entire setup, groundwork, and an entire infrastructure being laid to move from cash to digital currency. And the number one thing that is not happening today is a ban on a central bank digital currency. This means the ability for the government to take control of your digital bank account where all your money is and turn it off. And this is why I'm so upset and it's not being talked about. Steve, I was the only no vote on the rule last night. And Congress set a record last night and no one's talking about that either. This was the longest vote held open for a rule in history. And it finally shut down sometime around midnight, because there was a deal made and the deal will not be honored. It was a deal that Speaker Johnson made, and he said that he would put a ban on central bank digital currency in the NDAA. But let me tell you something, that's going to get stripped out in the Senate, because what they told us all week long is the Senate does not have the votes to pass a ban on a central bank digital currency. So I want to lay this out straight for you all. Never thought in your lifetime that the government would shut you down, would close your churches, would close your schools, would close your business. And that happened only a few years ago. But what is happening today is the groundwork is being laid, and it's all in the name of cryptocurrency and stablecoin. But it is the entire regulatory process to switch us from cash to a cashless society to digital currency that can be controlled by the federal government. And there will be no ban on a central bank digital currency. There will be no way to protect your ability to fully control your digital currency in the future. And I'm voting no to this today. I don't know if there'll be any other no votes on the Republican side, but I'm voting no to this because I'm a Christian and I've read the Bible and I believe what Revelations 13, 16 through 17 says. And I just cannot vote for a future system that will do that.
But it's okay, hang on. But I thought one time you had a dozen or maybe 25. You had the House Freedom Caucus plus others that are saying, hey, we don't support any possibility of having a central bank digital currency. A lot of them are concerned about things in the Genius Act overall, but they're prepared to, say, we'll let that go forward. But they're adamant about the central bank digital currency. Where are all the other dozen, 20, 24 people that were with you?
They remain concerned. Don't get me wrong. My colleagues remain. I'm not in the Freedom Caucus, so I'm going to lay that out right there. My colleagues remain concerned about a central bank digital currency. As a matter of fact, that was expressed as a concern by Republicans in every meeting that I was in. But yet there was no massive effort on a large scale to stop a central bank digital currency. It's just this. They were saying, we've got to deliver. The president wants this passed. We didn't even know about the Genius Act today, but they're saying we have to have this passed. He wants a sign ceremony on Friday. He wants this done, and they're willing to push it forward without guaranteeing and passing on the front end. My demand is, let's do this on the front end. Let's stop the central bank digital currency first, and then let's pass this stuff. But no one is willing to do that. They were willing to make deals that I don't believe will hold, because we were told all week, Steve, by everyone, that a ban on CBDC, central digital currency, will not pass in the Senate. There are not 60 votes for that. So by Johnson putting it in the NDAA and saying this is our effort to get it to pass, it doesn't mean that it's going to pass in the Senate. They're going to gut it out. We watched them do that with the BBB. They're going to do it with Clarity, the other Bitcoin, the market regulatory bill that will pass today. They do this time, and the House constantly gets jammed. And here's one thing that really makes me angry, Steve. This was a closed rule. Johnson did not allow us to make amendments to the Genius Act, to make an amendment to put a ban on CBDC in the Genius Act. We were told, you don't have a right to amendments. You don't get to do your legislative process anymore. You just have to vote on it. And they forced it through, making what I think is a fake deal. And I wish the Freedom Caucus had held, but they didn't. They work and they want to pass the president's agenda, and I do too. But I'm not willing to go along with the pathway to a central bank digital currency in a cashless society where none of us can control our money, because I don't trust the government, and no one else should trust the government. And just because this administration is committed to that doesn't mean that a future administration will not lock down our bank accounts if we're doing and saying what they want us to do. We've already been there. That was the past 4 years. I don't want to ever go back to that. And I don't want that future for my children, Steve. And so I am upset today. I'm adamantly no to this. And I wish I had more Republicans standing with me.
Let's start with
cow. Okay, so here's the solution. The solution is that we need to have a standalone bill, simply banning CBDCs and codifying President Trump's executive order. End of story. Here we have Project Constitution 10 hours ago posting the chaos erupts on House floor over Genius Act crypto bill. The public is being set up. Today, July 17th, 2025, while the media distracts you with Epstein headlines, Congress is quietly laying the foundation for something far more dangerous than most realize: the death of cash and the birth of government-controlled digital currency. Calling it the Genius Act, a Trojan horse bill being rushed through the House right now, and it has passed. Chaos erupting on Capitol Hill as lawmakers scream about rule violations and betrayal. Holy cow. This is outrageous. A kangaroo court lacks decency, and this is not how we govern. You're ramming through one of the most controversial nominations of this administration. Senators walking out in protest. The Genius Act sets up the entire infrastructure for a cashless society and does not include a ban on central bank digital currency. This means the federal government could soon have a total control over your money, with the power to track, freeze, or block your account if you step out of line. Speaker Mike Johnson made a deal to include a CBDC ban, and now they're trying to strip it. This is DC corruption at its finest. Vote, betray, and repeat. Let's hear. This is a clip from BTC Sessions.
The Bitcoin. Did the U.S. just take a massive step towards Bitcoin leadership, or are we walking into a trap of sorts? The much-hyped Genius Act just cleared procedural voting in the House and heads for a final vote tomorrow. It's being sold as a historic chance for the U.S. to dominate Bitcoin and so-called digital assets, paving the way for stablecoin issuers, pumping global demand for dollars, and even creating new buyers of U.S. treasuries and potentially Bitcoin, like we've seen with Tether. But not everyone's on board. Yesterday, 13 Republicans broke ranks, raising red flags about what's actually buried in the bill. And it might not be the pro-Bitcoin win that many were told it was. We always say that Bitcoin is a Trojan horse, but if this time the government is trying to Trojan horse, we're going to take a look at a clip from a prominent Republican sounding the alarm on some hidden dangers in the Genius Act. And once you hear these quotes, you may understand why the vote could shape the future of Bitcoin in America for better or worse. So this is Andy Biggs, Republican. He said the Senate's Genius Act creates a framework for a layered central bank digital currency and does not guarantee self-custody, the freedom to control your money. House leadership must allow an open amendment process so members can freely debate and improve the bill. And I want to show this clip here of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's talking about her concerns around the Genius Act.
I want to lay this out.
Okay, so we just played that. Clearly, there are some very terrifying things in this bill. It has passed. There's going to be a signing ceremony on Friday, tomorrow, and it's going to be signed into law. Of course, we do not want to have a mark of the beast infrastructure constructed. However, we can delay prophecy, perhaps, but you can't stop it. You can't stop what has been written in Scripture. You can be aware of what it says and use this information to guide our steps, but you can't stop what is written in the Word. It says the Antichrist will come to power. It says that every man will receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, that no man will buy or sell save he that has the mark, the number of the beast. That's what it says. So I have consider this a sign even. You know, the Lord told us that we must watch for the signs. It was a command given by Christ that we would see the signs of the season of his return. What is this? Is this a sign? Is this the footsteps of the Antichrist coming to power? The framework for digital transactions has been around for a very, very long time. Look in your wallet. Look at your credit card. Look at the little gold chip that's in your credit card or your debit card. Have you noticed that wherever you go now, you can simply take your credit card and you can tap to pay. It used to you have to swipe or insert. Now it's simply tap to pay. I mean, that's as simple as now move that little gold chip, move it to the size of a grain of rice. I mean, we've covered this time and time again. The technology exists to have RFID chips inserted into people. People are doing it voluntarily. So it's just a matter of time before that little gold chip on your debit card is tied to a microchip and it into your body so that you can tap to pay. So like I said, we can perhaps delay the prophecy, but you cannot delay what is written. So that's my take on this. We have to have eyes open. We have to be able to watch what is happening to prepare our soul for eternity. Now, if we can get a bill passed, it's going to completely block CBDCs. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's try to make it happen. But what is written is written. There will be a time that a mark will be placed in the right hand or in the forehead so that no man will be able to buy or sell. So we can scream and yell about infrastructure being created. Yes, at least listen to it as a warning for the fulfillment of prophecy, but know that redemption draws nigh. All this means is that Christ will return, so celebrate. Celebrate that. And the Bible says it's going to get scary. There will be tribulation. There will be wars and rumors of war. There will be an Antichrist figure who will rise up. Who will that be? I believe for a long time it would be Prince Charles, or now King Charles. That remains to be seen. The Antichrist would have to, it says he's going to have a mortal wound, and he's actually going to have a resurrection, everything. I mean, these are things that are written in Scripture. Now, we're not at that point yet. But if these things are coming to pass right now, know that we are getting closer to the date of Christ's return, that no man knows the date nor the hour. So if this is all written in Scripture, if it's all there, then there's nothing you can do to stop it. Nothing. You try to, if that is in fact the true infrastructure for the mark of the beast technology, so that no man may buy or sell, if that's it, you could try to pass a bill to ban CBDCs, but it's not gonna pass. If that is in fact the true infrastructure for that technology, because it is written. So all we can do is watch, pay very close attention, prepare ourselves, our soul, our family for what comes next. Because if they do actually implement something like that, you're not going to be able to transact in the world. You will need to barter. You will need to have tangible items that you can trade. And if we ever get to that point, I mean, we saw what it looked like during COVID with all the lockdowns, the division of people. You better have a network set up to survive what is coming, because it's gonna get ugly before it gets beautiful. So keep that in mind. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this Genius Act represents ultimate bait and switch. They promise crypto innovation while potentially enslaving every American to programmable money. Without explicit CBDC prohibition, this bill hands government the power to control what you buy, when you buy it, and from whom. Imagine money that expires, that can't buy certain products, that tracks every transaction. Remember during COVID, they wanted you to present your papers. They wanted to limit where you could travel. We talked about this, the push for electric vehicles, right? Remember when they were shutting down electric vehicles in Russia? They're shutting down Teslas. Really. It's all in the electronic system. If you don't show your papers, you can't buy the toilet paper you need. That's where this is all going. Marjorie Taylor Greene sees it. Bannon sees it. But the swamp rushed it through while distracting us with other headlines. So the mark of the beast isn't just coming. It could be right here being legislated. Now, yes, Trump did sign an executive order against CBDCs. But this bill could override that protection through some legal backdoors. Remember, financial freedom dies not with bullets, but with bills. So here is the question. And Trump loves it. I don't think he's going to do it. But do you think Trump should veto the Genius Act until it explicitly bans all central bank digital currencies? I have a strong feeling that during that signing ceremony, it's not going to be a veto stamp, but that black Sharpie making its way across that paper. And that's a sound we all know too well. So protect your soul, no matter what. And protect yourself by getting some Next News merch while you can still spend freely.